Thank you, everyone, for joining the Cloud Billing Studio IDSync demo, specifically for the Connectwise PSA tool and your Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace. This is Kelly Fox. I'm your Cloud Business Development Executive dedicated to SMBA, and it's an exclusive SMBA webinar, so we really appreciate the time and having everyone join. We think this is a great product that can really save you some time, in your back-end office with billing reconciliation. So we're going to have a little bit of discussion on what the product is, and then go through a detailed demo so you can see how it works from the marketplace into your specific PSA with Connectwise. So at the moment, I'll ask everyone to go on mute. If you have any questions at the end, feel free to send them over to me via the chat, or unmute and feel free to ask them, and we'll have an open forum. But I will turn it over to Marty and to Larry from IDSync to walk us through the demo.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
Hi, this is Marty Rini. I appreciate you taking the time this afternoon. I manage our marketing and sales here. Larry Junker, one of our senior engineers, is going to help us this afternoon with the demo. I'd like to just spend a few minutes at kind of a high level, just talking about what the product, what the product is, what it does, why anybody would use it, those kinds of things. As you can see on this cover slide, it's really about the license information that exists in the marketplace that you really need to get your invoicing done. And the process that most of you have to go through right now to actually accomplish that is a rather tedious, time-consuming, can be frustrating at times. And so what we've done is we've brought this software to the marketplace. Actually, it's probably year 3 now it's been there. We're going through a version upgrade right now. But the point is it's been able to get rid of a lot of the, the effort associated with it. So just a few slides give you a high-level overview of what the product does, its purpose, those kinds of things. But the primary intent is to get that billing information out of the marketplace and into the what I call the exact PSA record that you need it to be in your Connectwise system. So, no sorting, no handling, no data entry, all those kinds of things. So this presentation is about, what's the Billing Studio, how's it work, how does it help with license management, technical infrastructure, how do you get started, etc. So really, it's once you get set up and running, it's just you don't really have to do anything. You just kind of set it and forget it. I mean, there's no batch files, there's no sorting. It's just directly inserts the data into your PSA system, and it allows you to really maximize the revenue associated with your SaaS business. This is the role that IDSync plays. It's just so if you can imagine the marketplace cloud on the left. So IDSync really sorts through all those service providers, customers, subscriptions, and it grabs that cost and count information and then turns over to Connectwise and does the same thing, dig through all those service providers, customers, and then drops that information, like I say, exactly where it ought to be to tee you up to get an invoice out the door. So we don't really participate in what I would call the invoice process itself in the sense of doing any multiplication, any uplifts, any bundling, all those kinds of processes that you currently do today to send an invoice to your customers. That's exactly what you're going to do in the future. So there's really no change in your business process. It's really a change in being prepared to send that invoice out, right? So in this slide, it depicts really what I would call the complete process from setup through daily operations. So, and it's really pretty easy to do, right? The very first step is you really just match the customers and subscriptions that are in the Connectwise system with those that exist in the cloud marketplace. Then once you do that, IDSync just detects the changes going on in the marketplace and then in really near real time delivers that information into the PSA system, right? And so the reporting is really all about, what did what did I purchase over here? Which one of these records are linked? Which ones are not linked yet, et cetera, right? And so this helps you actually operate the system. So, you know, we think the process is important. And so part of that is when you go through this mapping process, a lot of times you'll find that the nomenclature that you're using in your system is different than in the Ingram. So this is very flexible mapping between the system, and it accounts for whatever differences there might be in naming conventions. So, I mean, for example, you can see here, Acme Manufacturing might be different than the Acme Company, right? And so, but we link those things together, and you don't really have to do anything to change what you're doing on either side. So the primary features is it's designed for that MSP invoicing process on the marketplace. It minimizes the data entry to largely to zero, right? It's very simple to use. There's really nothing to install. The only thing you really have to have is your login credentials to both the marketplace and your PSA system. And so it really allows for what we think of as quick and timely updates to the PSA and then the license management reports to help you run the system. And like I say, we think process is important. So if you don't know what, you know, you've exactly purchased from the marketplace today, and if you're not exactly certain of the PSA system, then you always the question is, what do you do next? And that's where a lot of the issues start to come from. So that's where we've introduced this idea, the management reporting, so it's to help you with that and just quickly sort through those issues, so you can just like reduce this to like a recipe of how do you produce an invoice, right? So it's basically their online reports, graphics kinds of capabilities, you know, standard sort, search, select, filter. You can export it to CSV files, import it into Excel, Access, or whatever. So this is just gives you a sense of what some of those reports look like. And so this would be one. Well, these are all the subscriptions that we've ever purchased on the marketplace. These are subscriptions in your PSA system that are not yet linked to the marketplace. So just given these two things, you know exactly what your work is to do to be able to do an invoice, to be able to generate an invoice. So then these are your linked subscriptions, and if this is everything that you want to bill this month, then you're good to go. You can go ahead and cut that invoice and get it out the door. So high-level overview, I guess I just want to stop for a little bit and turn it over to Larry and really walk through, get you a sense of what's the look and feel like for the product. How do you log in, the mapping, the posting, the reporting process.
What we're going to do in the live demonstration portion today is we're going to kind of walk through from...
All right, I will do that process now. No, I appreciate all your help. Sorry for the frustration. It's just...
You can make sure everyone stays on mute, and then Larry will go through with the demo.
Yeah, has been telling me, I don't know who it is. He's the only other user created in this account, so...
All right. Waiting to see if we get quiet here. All right, I think we can move forward here. We'll try again. What we're going to show in the live demonstration portion of our presentation today is kind of a front to end process. We're going to talk about where we get our data from for those purchases that are being made by the MSP for their customers off the Ingram system. Then we're going to move from there to looking at the IDSync cloud billing interface and show you what you do in that interface to make it possible for IDSync system to make your life easier by posting automatically any changes to purchases over to the agreements that you want them posted to in the Connectwise system. So, I mean, the goal here is I want to be able to purchase something on the Ingram side and without additional steps, be sure that purchase that I've made is going to be reflected over on the Connectwise agreement so that when I run my invoice at the end of the month, I know that I'm billing for every seat that I've purchased from Ingram. And so that's in a nutshell what we're going to do. Along the way, I'll show you some things like I'll show you how easy it is for the configuration to be done. I'll also walk through to a short extent here and show you some of our reporting aspects of our package just so you get familiarized with some of the features. So with that said, let's go ahead and dig in here. So we're in the cloud marketplace. We're going to go into the control panel. The control panel is where you can see all your customers, you can see all the subscriptions, and all the things that are getting billed on those subscriptions by Ingram. So we're logged in as an MSP. We're going to drill into that MSP's customers. And today, we're going to be using TransCore here as our demonstration customer. So we're going to go into the customer control panel for TransCore so that we can see what kind of subscriptions TransCore has on the Ingram marketplace, and so that we can get an idea of what the data is that we are eventually going to be posting over to the Connectwise system. So I'll wait for the home page to come up here. And we'll see that TransCore has one subscription. It's from Microsoft CSP, and they have 344 total licenses. I guess this would be a good point at which I can kind of point out something that makes the IDSync system a little bit unique compared to maybe some of the other billing solutions that are available on the market today. One of the things that we have that is unique about the IDSync system is that we can bring in any Odin product or any Ingram product that is sold through the Odin system. That's the platform or the marketplace back office system here that handles all these subscriptions. We can show any product, not just O365 type products, as long as it's a license-based product. So we can show O365 products, we can show Dropbox products, maybe Norton security products, anything that would be on a per user license, per computer license, that sort of thing. We're going to be able to display it and report it over to Connectwise. For the purpose of our demo today, this particular customer just has a Microsoft CSP license, so we're going to drill down in there and see what these 344 licenses come from. So let me click on that, and we'll find out. All right, so they actually have 3 different products on their Microsoft CSP. They have Exchange Online, Project Pro for Office, and Office 365 Enterprise E3. So that totals the total number that you saw on that other screen, but each one of these products can be mapped individually over to one or more agreements on the Connectwise platform. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to jump into the IDSync billing interface and show you where we go to get these products to map over to the Connectwise platform. So let me click into that. This screen here you'll get a link to when you subscribe for IDSync billing, and you'll be provided with some initial credentials for logging in so that you have access to the system. I'm going to go ahead and log in as that MSP that we were just looking at. And it'll take you to an initial welcome screen. Now, the first thing I want to do here is I want to take us through and show you the config screen. We're already configured in this environment, but I want to show you what the configuration screen looks like just so that you have an idea of basically how simple it is to get started here. We're going to go into configuration. You'll have to go to the Connectwise button down here, and you'll see that it takes us into a screen that has just a couple blanks. The blanks amount to, we have to tell it where we're connecting into Connectwise. So if it's on-premise Connectwise, we'll need your on-premise URL. If it's hosted Connectwise, we'll need the hosted cloud version of Connectwise's URL so that we know where we're going to be talking to get the data back from Connectwise. Then we're also going to need an integrator account set up. We have some instructions available on our website on how to set up that integrator account, so it should be fairly simple for you to set up the integrator account and give it the access permissions that are going to be necessary. But we'll need an integrator account and the password for that integrator account, and then finally the company ID that you log into so that we get into your specific instance of Connectwise and just bring back data that's pertinent to your particular needs. Finally, there's one more thing that I'd like to point out, and we have a menu option up here called Enable Addition Rollup. This is something that some of our customers have asked for over the last couple of years as IDSync has been providing this sort of billing service. Basically what this is whenever you change a quantity in the Connectwise system, Connectwise creates a new line item on invoices so that it can then prorate whatever quantity has changed and accurately reflect that on the bill. Unfortunately, Connectwise doesn't then clean up those extra line items for you, and they just kind of build up over time. So the more adds and removes you have on your account or on a given agreement, the longer your invoice ends up getting to be over time. Some of our customers have said, is there anything you can do about this? Is there some way that we can clean this up? Because we'd rather not have an invoice that says, okay, we started with 10 licenses of O365 back in June, and then we picked up 5 more in July, and we picked up another 5 in August, and we dropped 2 in September. We don't want to see all that history. All we want to see is the net. And so what we've done is we've added an option to do some roll-up where we actually go out and pay attention to when those adds and removes have been made, as well as when your invoices have been cut. And we do what can be done within the scope of Connectwise to consolidate the line items and make it so that you have a cleaner invoice at the end of the month, where you have as few line items on that invoice as is possible, yet still retaining enough information that you can create an accurate invoice that also includes any prorations. So that is a menu option. It can be turned on or turned off depending on what your particular needs are. So just wanted to kind of point that out, but that is basically, in a nutshell, everything that has to go into the Connectwise configuration. You're filling in 4 blanks, plus you have an option to turn on or turn off the roll-up feature. You save that, and then at that point, IDSync is ready to get started with loading the data from your Connectwise system and from the Ingram Marketplace. Generally, it takes between 15 minutes and a half hour for us to get that initial load, to get that information after you've saved your credentials and fully populate the system. Now, in our demo environment here, I've already done that, so we don't have to wait. And so we can go ahead and get to step 2. Once that initial data has been loaded, your next step is to go into the billing system, which is the one that says billing here with a $sign next to it. Click on Connectwise, and we will be brought into a screen that will allow us to do mapping. This is where we have to tell the IDSync system what customer on the Ingram system, relates to which customer on the Connectwise system, which subscription on the Ingram system needs to get posted to which agreement on the Connectwise system. So we're basically just doing a mapping, providing us with some idea of where those pieces of information need to go. So now we've got this screen up. The left-hand side of the screen shows us all of our customers that we have sold products to from the Ingram system. The right-hand side of the screen shows us a number of drop-downs, and those drop-downs contain a list of the customers that are customers that we have live in our PSA system, in our Connectwise system. So that lets us do the initial mapping here. Now you'll notice that this is kind of a colorful screen. We've got this screen color-coded. Any light items that are showing up in the color green indicate that we've already done all the relationships for that customer. We don't have to do anything more for them. Any line items that are showing up either white or gray, such as this line for IDSync here, indicates that there is at least one relationship sitting out there. Well, I should say there are no relationships that have been set up for any of the products that were purchased for this customer. So that it's sitting completely blank and it needs to be set up. So if it's gray or white, it means I need to still do work on it. And then finally we have some that are in orange. The ones that are colored in orange here, those are the ones that we've set up some of the relationships for their products, their subscriptions, but we haven't set them all up. So what we want to do when we get to this screen is go look for the white ones, look for the orange ones, and then finish them off. Go ahead and get them so that they show up green at the end of the day here. So we were looking at TransCore as our customer, and so I'm going to drill into TransCore here, expand this out. You'll see that I already have one of my relationships set up. I've already picked TransCore as the company. I've already picked for this Exchange Online plan, it is getting posted to Managed Services 2018. And for the Exchange Online plan, there is one billable resource, one thing that's getting billed for the Exchange Online subscription, and that one thing is the base license, which is being licensed on a per-user basis. And I'm mapping that to something called Exchange Online Plan 1 off of the Connectwise system. So the next thing on the list here is this Office 365 Enterprise E3 monthly. And you'll see that this blank hasn't been filled in yet. So I haven't told the system where I want Office 365 Enterprise E3 to be posted. So now I'm going to have to go pull down a list of any active contracts, any active agreements that have been detected for TransCore, and you'll see that there are 2 of them out there. We're going to put this on the Managed Services 2018 agreement, and now I need to pick which product I want the Office 365 Enterprise E3 license to go to. So what is that product called in the Connectwise system? And so I'm going to, again, pull down a drop-down. I can do a partial typing of what the product name is. It'll filter it out for me, and then I can just find the one that matches up. So I'll go find myself Office 365 Enterprise E3 monthly and save that. And then finally I hit the green button to set the relationship. And it'll tell me up in the corner that relationship has now been set. I can do the very same thing for the Project Pro. We'll go through here, grab what agreement I want it set to. We'll go in here and find my Project Pro and set the relationship. And now you'll notice that TransCore is no longer an orange bar, but a green bar, meaning that I've now set up all the relationships there are for any products for TransCore. It makes it pretty easy. Just at a glance, you can tell on this screen anything that needs to be done based on the color. As new subscriptions are purchased, something like TransCore may switch back to orange if they had a new subscription, something that we've never mapped before. If they buy, say, Norton Antivirus or Norton Security, that is something that we haven't posted before, so it would show up back as an orange item here telling me, oh, I need to go ahead and do a mapping for it. So that kind of gives you an idea of how the mapping screen works. So let me talk about what happens after I do the mapping. Once I've set the map up, then IDSync, once every 2 to 3 minutes, goes out and checks to see if there's any difference in the number of units of whatever product it might be. So in this case, we were doing Office 365 Enterprise E3 and Project Pro for Office 365. So it's going to, within 2 to 3 minutes, look at those two products on this subscription, the Managed Services 2018 subscription for Customer TransCore, and it's going to see, are there any differences between the number of units that are on the PSA system. So let's say the PSA system has no units on it, meaning there's nothing, they currently don't have anything posted out there, yet the Ingram system shows whatever we just saw on there. So the Ingram system shows that they have 2 for Project Pro and 304 for Enterprise E3. So within 2 to 3 minutes, it's going to go ahead and post those numbers out to the Connectwise system. It's going to take into account any licenses that were already sitting out on that agreement on the Connectwise system, so that it doesn't duplicate anything, because we don't want to overpost. We don't want to post more units to Connectwise than are actually needed, but we want that number to match. We want the number that's in Connectwise to match that which is on the Ingram system. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what's happening kind of behind the scenes. Like I said, it takes just a few minutes for that to happen. And while we're waiting, I'm going to take you over and show you reports for just a few minutes, talk about some of our reporting features, and then we'll flip over to Connectwise and show you where the posting actually ends up on the Connectwise system. So let's jump over to reports here. And you saw some of this with Mart, some of the slides Marty went through, so I won't spend a lot of time on the reports, but I do want to at least get you a little bit familiarized with them. So to start with, we have a subscription report. The subscription report goes through and lists in one pane of glass everything you've purchased from the Ingram Marketplace. So every product for every customer is going to show up here. And you can do some analytics on this. You can actually drill down, say, I only want to see what products TransCore purchased, for instance. If I drill down into that, it will live update this top section, letting us know what that particular customer purchased. Likewise, we have a tree view over here that lets us go through or tree map, and we can just hover over any particular product. And get a view of what that product looks like up here in the grid view. This also all can be exported to CSV, dumped into Excel, or whatever product you might want to manipulate the data in further. And every one of our reports works the same way, where you can export whatever's displaying in this top view. So it gives you an opportunity to do some picking and choosing of what data you want to export. We also have 2 other reports. We have a linked report, which tells us which things we already did mapping for. So that process we just did, where we mapped the TransCore products, made them appear on this screen, and this kind of gives you a way of reviewing what you did on mapping. The counterpart to that is the unlinked report. The unlinked report gives us anything that remains to be linked. So anything that we haven't set up a relationship for that sits in the Ingram Marketplace will appear on this report. This report is pretty vital. This is kind of like your work list. If you open this report up and there's something in here, that means the IDSync system does not know where you want me to post it in the Connectwise system, and as a result, we're not reporting to Connectwise, and you're potentially not billing, because the only way it's getting into Connectwise is either if IDSync system knows about it, or if somebody's manually entering it into Connectwise. So your goal is to make this report as small as possible, hopefully empty. Finally, I'm going to jump over to our adjustment report. We have an adjustment log and a failure log. We'll talk about the adjustment log here. The adjustment log, what it does is it tells us anything that we've posted over to the Connectwise system and when we posted it. And so this kind of could be used for things like, You know, one typical thing is I might want to show the last 30 days, which is what it defaults to, by the way. What are the last 30 days worth of purchases that were made from the Ingram Marketplace? That's what's showing right here. So these are all of the adjustments that IDSync had to make over the last 30 days. If there were any reductions, if they dropped seats, those would also show up here. Again, just like any of our other screens, you can drill down. So I could click in and say, I just want to see what got posted for TransCore over the last 30 days, for instance. And it will update that record much the same way. And so that's kind of kind of how that screen works there. You can adjust your time frames, like I said, so you can kind of go, I only want to see things that were updated during a certain number of days. So as you slide the slider back and forth, you get the different time range showing here. But that kind of gives you a feel for what the adjustment log does for you. It could be used for keeping track of your purchases over time. Last report we have here is a failure log. I expect that that's probably going to show up empty here for our demo. But if there were any entries in the failure log, what that's going to tell us is if for some reason the Connectwise system would not allow us to post something that we were attempting to post, it would show up here in the failure log along with an error message telling us why it is that we can't post it. For instance, let's say you had an agreement that expired in the Connectwise system, and we tried to post to an expired agreement. That would show up in this log letting us know that there was something that needed to be posted, but we couldn't because Connectwise system was not able to comply with our request to post that item. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what's available through the billing system, the mapping process, that sort of thing. So now we're going to jump over to the Connectwise system just so that you can see where this data actually ends up. So let me slide Connectwise screen in real quick here. You'll see that I'm already looking at an agreement search for the company TransCore. If I drill into the Managed Service 2018 agreement, that's the one that we were posting to, it will bring me into the agreement. And then I can click on the Additions tab. And under the Additions tab, you will see that we have posted. The Exchange Online was already posted out here. That was actually posted, looks like 7/24. And then today, 7/26, we posted Office 365 Enterprise E3, and we posted Office 365 Project Pro. The totals that we posted out there, total number of units that we posted out there, 304 units for the Office 365, 2 units for the Project Pro. That matches up with the number of units that we saw over on the Ingram platform when we were looking at that particular subscription on the Ingram platform. The important thing to note is that if tomorrow, for some reason, the customer picked up, say, another 10 units of Office 365 Enterprise E3, it would automatically enter in a new line item here to reflect the fact that those new seats had been purchased, and it will do that on an ongoing basis as long as that subscription is alive. So that the mapping process enables us to keep track of that for you, so that you don't have to go through the hassle of reconciling the purchases versus your PSA system for purposes of generating your invoice. So I think we've covered it front to back. At this point, I'm going to turn it back over to Marty so that he can show us a couple. I think he has a couple more slides, and then we'll jump into some Q&A at the end. Marty, I think you might be on mute.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. Just to wrap up very quickly is we'll get to the Q&A. Just to kind of summarize why use Billing Studio, it's, we think the SaaS software business is typically a thin margin business. It's important to make sure you bill all your licenses. It's important to be take as much cost out of the process as you can. And we think Billing Studio can be an important tool in accomplishing those ends. So it's, again, it's a direct integration between Ingram and your PSA system. And a lot of people don't think about it, but it's not just a matter of getting the invoice out, it's also about getting the cash in. So, we think it helps with cash flow, it helps with collect. We think customers actually like to get accurate invoices on time, right? And so it really helps with that, helps with your customer relations as it pertains to invoicing. And then again, it supports all marketplace, fixed license kind of resources, including Office 365, right? There's also a quick start service that we have that we deliver directly here from IDSync, and there's no real, what I would call, installation that it takes to use the software, but there's still the issue of we think of as the effective use of Billing Studio in the business. So there's this, the setup, the license tracking, and how do you maximize the revenue capture. And so what this is what I would call, it's a guided, precise way to really accelerate, getting started in the use of the software and to really minimize the learning curve associated with new software. So it's just it's a very simple, quick startup to the process. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that we also had other products in the marketplace that a lot of integration with Active Directory, Office 365, IT tools for help desk, for AD to AD integration, and so you'll find those up in the marketplace also. So I guess at this point we can just wrap up with Q&A. Kelly, if anything's come in at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So a few questions that are coming through. Would IDSync be able to help with how they handle billing? So if it's more custom, if there's, an annual subscription that the reseller actually bills out monthly, how does that work?
Well, thanks. I think I'll just defer to Larry on that. Can you handle that, Larry?
Well, I think the answer is that we'd probably have to investigate that one more specifically. I can tell you that the way that IDSync currently handles reporting of billing cycles is that normally you would set up an agreement in the Connectwise system that maps out to the same term as the agreement or the subscription that's being purchased on the marketplace. And so we fully support the idea of being able to take, say, have an Office 365 subscription that is on an annual basis, have it mapped to one agreement that is on annual billing, and then have a separate Office 365 subscription that's on a monthly billing cycle, and have that go to a monthly agreement on the Connectwise platform. As far as a hybrid goes, I think that would have to be something we'd have to look at it on a case-by-case basis to see if there's a way to help the Connectwise system understand that the product has been purchased annually, yet is being billed on something other than an annual basis.
Thanks, Blair.
Sure.
I would just add too that we, over the years, some of our best suggestions have come from the MSPs, and so we have professional services and technical services, and so at times we've modified the product to fit a particular business process. So I would just offer that should somebody have that need.
Yeah, absolutely. And then another question, a very, very important question. What is the pricing of that monthly license?
Oh, great question. So it's very modestly priced. It's just simply $50 a month per MSP. There's really no upcharges or no additional charges based on transactions or anything. It's just a month-to-month license, highly subsidized by Ingram itself, and so it's very modestly priced. Just to answer a question that wasn't asked about the Quick Start service, it's, again, very modest. It's $250 as a flat fee.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's absolutely very modest. And then another question coming in, just because we know a lot of the Office 365 subscriptions and some of the other vendors out there, deal with kind of prepaid, and then you get into a prorating situation. How does prorating work, within IDSync into the PSA tool?
Larry?
Sure. Yeah, I'll take that one. The IDSync system does not do any of the calculations for proration. Rather, what we do is we post the effective dates of when purchases are made or when seats are dropped, and based on those effective dates that we're posting out to the Connectwise system, Connectwise uses its internal engine to calculate out the proration. So the long and the short of it is we don't change the invoicing process on the Connectwise platform. Connectwise still generates invoices the way it always has. It's calculating it out based on the additions that have been provided to it throughout the course of a given agreement, and so just we're feeding it in the raw data, the bits and pieces that it needs in order to calculate out prorations, and then it's doing the calculations for prorations. So that's basically how the prorating works and how we work alongside Connectwise's internal mechanism for proration.
Perfect. It looks like that's all the questions we have. Is there anything else, Larry or Marty, that you wanted to add or point out that we may not have covered?
No, I would just say if there's questions afterwards, they can certainly get in touch with me and we can go into more details or answer specific questions. There's user guides that are available if they'd rather read about it. And other than that, the software in the Quick Start's available directly from the marketplace, so they can just use their current account to order it.
Perfect. And it looks like we do have one more snuck in here. So can it be set up as a test with maybe just one or two clients, or do you have to enable it for all clients at one time?
The billing system will only report, will only post over to the Connectwise platform for any customers and subscriptions that you've done mapping for. So if you think back to that screen where it was color-coded green or orange or white, if you simply only chose to do one or two customers off of your list, those would be the only ones that we would post to. So certainly you can use it only on a few of your customers until you feel comfortable that it's doing what you're hoping it will do, and so yes, you can definitely use it in as small or as large of a scale as fits your needs.
That's perfect. Okay. Yep, that confirms it. And we'll be sending out, I'll be sending out the recordings for the sessions after, toward the end of this week. As Marty said, his information is there. You can always reach out to me. The subscriptions are on the marketplace, so when you go ahead and log into there, you can take a look and purchase it right there. But we certainly would be happy to talk to you more, answer any questions you have. But I think that sums everything up. So I appreciate everyone joining, and have a good rest of your afternoon.